welcome back to the channel. FOOOOL. Thanks for tapping in. Don't forget to share, like, and subscribe if you like videos like this.
You see it? I'm seeing. Ah, look how you run. It's not right. Listen to that sound. Shaking it. Another one. Ah! Oh, God, it keep coming.
My ex-girlfriend sent this photo to her family group chat to let them know she'd arrived safely at the hotel. It was at this point that her brother replied, "Who's that in the mirror?"
I just turned on night vision, and I don't know if it's just me, but I can't see his face. I can't see him there. I'm gonna have to look at that when I get home. He just vanished.
What if they named all the sports after the demon ball? Like football, basketball, baseball, dodgeball, softball. They're all in a form some sort of aggressive. They've created all of it to worship that demon ball or Moloch. Worshipped by the people, which is crazy. Like everyone worships these games, sports.
What? My network is off. I'm in the ocean. I'm on the way to Antarctica. No way, son. My question is, why do these streamers keep mentioning Antarctica? And what do you mean Kai was on his way to Antarctica under the ocean? Could that be the place where they CL'ing them? I just want to see the old AMP guys, honestly. The good old days. But instead we gotta deal with this guy, Sinet. Who is this? Ah! Who is this? Look at his eyes, bro. Something is going on with Kai. Look at him. People are saying that he looks like a wax figure. Something is up. Because every time I turn around, these streamers are talking about Antarctica. Remember Mr. Beast? Remember Aiden Ross? Remember? Everybody's talking about Antarctica. Why is that, guys? Even Neon, remember that video I showed you? I don't know, and I don't think it will ever go back to this. Or this. I'm just playing around, guys. Entertainment purposes only. Obviously, Kai was just joking around. Rakai is making a big deal out of it. Come on now, guys. You know how they play around. They streaming. I don't know, guys. Let me know what you think. Who is this, bro? I'm out.
So now you're telling me that it has been approved in Japan, the ability to mix animal and human DNA, therefore splicing it and creating animal-human hybrids that are allowed to come to term. Now I'm going to let you marinate that for just a second. Are you good? Are we ready to cook this chicken? Now, the reason behind it is it is supposed to potentially help with human organ donors and transplants. Therefore, if you needed a heart, a liver, a lung, a kidney, you would have access to that quicker, because if you know anything about that, it is a very lengthy process and a very challenging one for those who need organs. But there are some huge red flags and a lot of skepticism attached to it, because they're not entirely sure what the human cells will potentially do to the animal brain. And then there's also the whole thing of religion. I swear every day I wake up, I'm like, what sci-fi movie did I just get a starring role on? What timeline did we just jump on? What universe are we currently residing in? So what do you think? Is this a good idea? Is this a bad idea? Let me know, put it in the comments. And obviously this is for information, education, and entertainment purposes only, but we need to talk about this.
You will not have a mirror in the bedroom where you sleep anymore.
Why do you not like mirrors?
There are lots of reasons. When you look back at Victorian morning period, specifically, you stop your clocks, you cover your mirrors. And why? Because you don't want the spirits to get trapped.
Trapped where?
In the mirror. It's believed it is a vortex that things can come through and things can get trapped in. If you are in a dark room and you're looking in a mirror, if you look long enough, it is said that you can see things moving on the other side.
I've heard this.
And once you know that those things are there, they will notice you.
Oh shit.
I had a bed that had a mirror on the headboard. I laid down to go to sleep, but I woke up because something slapped me across the face. I was alone.
You think something from the mirror?
I mean, I don't know where else it would have come from. You let something slap you across the face and wake you up and find out.
Note the red color symbolism of the opening ceremony of the Winter Olympics of 2026, inverted. Pentagram. It is a symbol of evil because it overturns the proper order of things and demonstrates the triumph of matter over spirit, per LFS Levi. Also note that the Church of Satan embraced an inverted pentagram and a goat's head as its symbol in 1966.
This is very strange. What does this have to do with the Olympics? And again, what does this have to do with the Olympics? And why does this look very, very ominous at that? It looks very, very bizarre. And I know I can't be the only one out there that finds this to be a little eerie, especially with what it looks like. I mean, come on. This is very strange stuff indeed. And again, I know I'm not the only one out there to find all of this to be a little odd. What does all of this stuff right here have to do with the Olympics? I don't know what's going on, guys. Maybe there's nothing to this at all, but when you see the signs for what they are, you see them for what they are. I guess this is just a coincidence too, right? Right? Or maybe there is more than meets the eye. What do you think?
Hey, watch out. He's probably using your Wi-Fi too. Oh my days. Oh my diddy. These are not statues, brother. These are petrified people. Oh, you son of a bitch. So let me see if I got this straight. You're trying to tell me a man 600 years ago used a hammer and chisel for 2 weeks and he chiseled a skeleton? Come on, brother. That don't make sense. So the arm fell off and for some reason there's a skeleton type. I don't even know what that's meant to be. But how can that be inside the solid marble? You told me it was solid marble, brother. That a man used a hammer and chisel for 2 weeks. Yeah, Leonardo, Michelangelo, one of them, man, Donatello, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle. How could he have chiseled that inside? And why? You only can see it if it breaks. Brother, that looks like a skeleton.
Hey, I'm walking around San Francisco right now, and I haven't seen a homeless motherfucker yet. I don't know where y'all put him, but I hope y'all took care of him. That's all I got to say. Because I never seen a city full of homeless people. It ain't no homeless people out here. Right now, that's crazy. I done hit hella blocks.
He was at the Mount St. Helens eruption when it went off, and they were fighting the fires down there. And I was telling him, I didn't say anything about my story or anything else like that. But I had on my keychain, I had a little Bigfoot, symbol. And he seen it and he's like, man, he said, I want to tell you something. I'm like, what? He's like, me and my buddy was fighting a brush fire. And he said, we had one of these things come down out of the mountain. He said he was burned on his arms and on his chest and torso area. And he came to us for aid. And I said, what? He's like, yeah. He said it was a Bigfoot. I'm like, I said, it was a Bigfoot? He's like, yeah, man. He said, this thing was like 10 foot tall, 1,000 pounds. I said, so what happened? He's like, well, we administered first aid to him, and we called it in. He said, next thing I know, he said, there's a Black Hawk helicopter coming in with no markings, no identification on it, which is, it cannot be. You got to have markings on the stuff, unless it's some secretive operations that doesn't have, decal numbers on it. He said they came in, landed, took the creature, put it in the chopper, told both of them to go about their thing, and they never seen nothing. And he said the chopper flew off. He never thought nothing about it. And he said, I'm here now, and I see you have a Bigfoot thing. And he said, dude, he said, I seen one, and the government freaking took it. And I'm like, that does not surprise me at all.
Junto a la taza, graba quedito. No inventes, si es uno de verdad. Ya se dio cuenta del celular. Nos está mirando feo. Se fue para el campo verde. Desapareció. ¿Sí lo viste?
There's another good synchronicity that somebody told me about, which kind of blew my mind, was this record that was released in July 2001 by a group called, you're not going to believe this, I Am the World Trade Center. There's a group called I Am the World Trade Center, and on an album which was called Out of the Loop, you can see, you go down the track list on Discogs, if you look at the 11th track on the CD, it's called September. Right there you've got the name of the place and you've got the date, all encoded on the album, which was released in July 2001.
There's just no limit to my fascination with those syncs between pop culture and real-world events.
Let's protect our nature by avoiding cutting trees. How forest is dense. How forest is a gift.
Not the cameraman running away too.
Almost everything Tom Clancy writes in his books eventually happens. I know you've seen the files where Epstein and all his cronies in the Squid Game VIP section are talking about trying to get World War III going on February 8th, 2026. Now, yeah, it's funny that that's a Super Bowl night. You think they were trying to plan it on Super Bowl? I don't know. But I got one thing that I need to say. Tom Clancy is an author. A lot of his books have been adapted for film, such as The Hunt for Red October, Patriot Games, Clear and Present Danger. Some that have been adapted for video games, such as Rainbow Six. What he writes is fire, but that's not what I'm here to say. What I want to talk about is the book, Debt of Honor. Debt of Honor was about a Japanese person who was very angry about the past. What they did, they got into the planes, went into the White House. That's just like what happened in New York with them 767s, you know what I'm talking about. It was almost to the T exactly what happened. It was almost like the terrorists had read his book and decided that they were going to do that. The second part is a book called Executive Orders. Is some group was kidnapping homeless people, doing experiments on them with these viruses. The virus got out, affected the nation, and they had to quarantine a bunch of people. That sounds very similar to what happened in 2020. You know what that was. Now, for what I started with the Super Bowl. Tom Clancy has a book called The Sum of All Fears. There's a movie about it. It's all about people sneaking a nuclear weapon into the United States, implanting it into a vending machine at the Super Bowl, and it detonates. So far, Tom Clancy's 2 for 2. I'm not saying that I want this to happen, but I'm saying Tom Clancy been writing a lot of futuristic stuff, and it's come true. If something happens on Sunday, look, I have nothing to do with that. Government, call me. I need to work for y'all, so you know what I'm saying? People that died, sorry y'all, I tried to warn you. If it happens, y'all need to go investigate Tom Clancy if it happens. The things he writes eventually starts to come true.
If satellites are really floating high above Earth, how have they stayed there for decades without a single pit stop, tune-up, or trip back home? And if space is as harsh as we're told, why do these machines survive non-stop heat, cold, radiation, and speed with no hands-on care? And here's the big one. Why are we asked to just trust it without ever seeing a repair happen in real time? Let's slow this down. We're told satellites are launched, pushed into orbit, and then left alone for years. No mechanics, no oil changes, no rescue trucks in the sky. Yet down here, your phone cracks, cars break, planes need constant checks, and even Wi-Fi routers glitch. So why are orbiting machines suddenly perfect? Now feel the weight of that question. These objects are said to travel faster than bullets, face extreme temperature swings, and dodge space debris every second. One tiny failure should end everything. A loose bolt, a dead battery, a bad update. But instead, we're told they quietly work year after year. No returns, no visible maintenance, no live fixes, just trust. Imagine the visuals we never see. No astronauts tightening panels, no robotic arms swapping parts, no faded paint, no worn edges, no stress marks, just clean diagrams, charts, and animations. In any other industry, that would raise eyebrows fast. Notice how language matters too.
Words like orbit, uplink, and space junk sound complex, so fewer people question them. Complexity can feel like authority, even when simple questions still matter. So what's the alternative view? Some suggest these systems may not be where we're told they are. Think ground towers, mountaintop antennas, fiber hubs, high-altitude balloons drifting over oceans, long-range aircraft circling regions, ships carrying signal gear. All real tech, all repairable, all observable. Suddenly, maintenance makes sense again. Just look around your daily life. Signals bouncing off buildings, antennas on hills, weather tools launched and recovered, internet cables, crawling across seabeds, military surveillance using drones and balloons. All these things exist, and they need people nearby to keep them running, upgrading, and fixing the little failures. Sit with that thought for a second, let it breathe, really think quietly, now. So, next time you hear satellite, just pause. Ask where it really is. Ask how it's fixed. Ask why questioning this makes people uncomfortable. Curiosity isn't denial, it's how truth gets tested. If this made your brain itch, stay here. Watch the next video. This page is for asking the questions you were told not to ask.
Reptiles there, right alongside, which meant that their gods were reptiles. And I think that they were truly almost like this movie Apocalypse or Apocalypsis. This guy always makes movies, but he always gets them wrong. I don't know. He's got the right idea, but he always films them wrong, as far as I'm concerned. The sacrifices that they made were to their gods. And they had enough trouble just trying to stay alive with their gods not eating them up. That's why they sacrificed the best and hoping that the gods would leave the rest. But being serpents as they are and dracons, they didn't care. And this is where we have to get into the deeper science here. These serpent gods are very evil. They've controlled this planet for some time. Now, get into heavy. You said you want to go deep. Let's dig some ditches. This planet has been controlled for over 4 million years, maybe more than that, by reptiles. And they pretty much have controlled this area. They are reptilian in form. They're called dracons. They come from Draconis and Orion, and they've had their way. They've even made so many of the bodies that we jump into as souls. And if you notice on these bodies, they put...
This is what's at the bottom of the Epstein rabbit hole. Jeffrey Epstein wasn't just some billionaire criminal. He sat on the board of an organization called the Lifeboat Foundation. Look it up. It exists. Public website, no hiding. The Lifeboat Foundation openly talks about underground cities, elite survival infrastructure, and relocating people off-world if civilization collapses. Off-world. But here's where it gets weird. Epstein was also connected to an organization called Teachers in Space, another real group, openly discussing payloads beyond Earth. This wasn't sci-fi, this was policy talk. And the man who personally placed Epstein into elite academic circles with zero qualification, Donald Barr. The same Donald Barr who wrote a novel about a powerful aristocratic class trafficking children into space. Does that sound familiar? But there's a coincidence that makes people uncomfortable. The Attorney General overseeing Epstein's case is William Barr, Donald Barr's son. So you have elite science circles, underground infrastructure, untraceable money transfers years before crypto existed, and organizations obsessed with survival after civilization. Some people say this wasn't about money. It's about control, technology, and continuity of power. The big question is, who was Epstein working for, and what were they preparing? Stay weird.
Alright, so here's some history that sounds completely fake, but is very, very real and very, very disturbing. So in the 1940s and 50s, the US government performed top secret experiments on children by feeding them radioactive oatmeal. Let's talk about it. So the government partnered with Quaker Oats at MIT, yes, that Quaker Oats, to see how radioactive nutrients move through the human body. And get this, their test subjects were dozens of developmentally disabled boys from a state-run facility in Massachusetts. Now, they told these boys that they were joining a science club. They even gave them certificates. What they didn't tell them was that they laced all their food with radioactive calcium and radioactive iron. Now, what was the goal of all of this? Well, it was to track how radioactivity was actually absorbed into the bones. And this was done without a single parent's consent. Now, MIT documented the entire thing. The government funded it, and they got away with doing this for decades. Now, the truth of this finally came out 40 years later in the 1990s, and the families ended up suing MIT, and Quaker needed to pay out $1.85 million, which seems insanely low considering what happened. So if somebody ever says that the government won't ever experiment on somebody without their consent, ask them about the MIT Quaker radioactive oatmeal. I'd like to hear in the comments below what you guys think, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye.
Oh my god. Oh my god.
This dog has seen some things.
Wait,
oatmeal's on
this
deck,
can't
and
be
I personally
true,
like the
right?
strawberries and cream the most. And then I started paying attention to the ingredients. And if you notice right here, you'll see natural flavor. When I learned what this is made out of in this, it blew my mind. Just check this out. Hold on a second.
And castoreum, typically called natural flavor, is taken from a beaver's anal gland. It's far cheaper to use castoreum, or beaver's butt, to flavor strawberry oatmeal than using actual strawberries. They don't want you to know what's in that natural flavor either. Just try to call the company and ask. They'll tell you it's proprietary. But there's nothing natural about the flavors they produce. So avoid products with natural flavors.
That's crazy, right? So listen, and the thing about the natural flavor too, man, there's been billions of dollars spent on natural flavors. It actually entices us to want to keep eating more. It's a chemical process they use to make natural flavors. So when I learned, it actually leads to weight gain. So when I learned that, I just switched it out, man. I go to the old-fashioned regular Quaker Oats, man, and I chop up some strawberries, some honey, or some maple syrup to make it better. And man, look, I lost 100 pounds. This was me in 2014. But I did it still eating the foods that I like to eat. I like oatmeal. But when I made that switch, it helped me to lose weight, man. You know, I lost weight eating bread, cookies, cakes, all that. That's why I wrote Life.
The theory of this is that when the biblical flood took place, that the giants who were involved in that fled to the highest peaks in the world, and that being the Himalayas. And we can assume giants could travel much farther and faster than any human being could on foot. For example, in the Epic of Gilgamesh, which I've read, the characters Gilgamesh and Enkidu, I know it's a funny name.
Fun name, yeah.
They could take long strides, much longer than a regular man could, because they're giants, and they had supernatural strength, and they could walk 400 miles before stopping to eat, and 1,000 miles before making camp, just as an example. And it says in the book, in 3 days, they could cover the distance an average man could cover in 6 weeks. So if you think, how did they get to the Himalayas so quickly? Here's your answer. So when the giants arrived at the Himalayas, they still met their demise, but their petrified bodies are what we see today as pink Himalayan salt.
Hey, fool. Kylie Jenner and Travis Scott's son is with the shits. Y'all know what I'm talking about. Yes. This man literally did it. This little toddler. Now ask yourself, take a wild guess at who you thought taught him that. The mother or the father? This man is only what, like 5? 6? Why is he doing that? Covering one eye, and he even stuck his tongue out too. Fool, a child is not just gonna do that. They had to teach him that, or he had to been seeing certain shit. This shit is wild, fool. Look at this video.
Literally in my driveway. I just got back from an appointment.
Now like this. Watch your face.
You want what?
Yeah, next. Nobody but me think that's crazy. He ain't just do it once. He did it twice. With the tongue out, y'all. Y'all let me know how y'all feel about this down below in the comments.
Do you hear the music coming from this man's leg? Every time doctors placed the probe on his pulse, they heard this exact song. They tried different machines, same song. They tried it on other people, no song. Any idea how this is possible?
Sorry to disappoint you, but every famous person you've seen at a televised funeral wasn't the real famous person. I get paid to lie down, motionless, while strangers cry, scream, and occasionally try to steal the cufflinks. Usually the rule book is 5 pages long For this specific family, the manual I had received had 50. I was in the prep room, the mansion's refrigerated basement, naked, shivering, while the technical supervisor, a man, applied a layer of cold silicone over my chest. Pay attention, he said, avoiding eye contact. This family does not accept failure. The pay is triple the standard, but the rules of physical engagement are absolute. Did you memorize section 4? I did. I took a deep breath, focusing on the muscle memory from my training, and I reiterated the rules. Rule number 1, total thermal control. The corpse generates no heat. You will undergo a 40-minute ice immersion bath. Jesus! Before the event to lower your skin temperature to 28 degrees Celsius. During the wake, if anyone touches your hand or face, they must not feel the warmth of living. Under no circumstances are you to sweat. If you feel a drop of sweat forming on your forehead, you must trigger the micro switch in your palm so the coffin's cooling system releases gaseous nitrogen. Sweat is a proof of life, and life is prohibited in this precinct.
Hey guys, something so awesome is happening to me. I can't say too much just yet, but I'm really excited to go on this journey with you all. Stay tuned.
It's drugs or Satan. It's gotta be one or the other.
Everybody you're seeing that has gotten in trouble and everybody that you see now, those are all their clones. Everybody that was involved was already dealt with in Gitmo, Guantanamo. You feel me? I have the pictures to prove it. They just won't let me put it out on the platform. So remember, I'm telling you this. Everybody that you're looking at, anybody that takes a stage right now at this present time and moment, those are all clones. And I mean that. I got the information. I have the pictures. I just can't put it out on the platform. They continue to restrict it. They continue to say it's violating community guidelines, so on and so forth. But I do have them, and I do have the proof. So remember what I said. They're all clones. They have already been executed. Put your comment in the comment section and follow for more. Let's see if I could do this one more time for y'all. Snapshot and read. Snapshot, read, blow up, do what you do. Snapshot and read, y'all. Do what you do. Snapshot and read. Important. Check it out. Once again, vital. Check it out. And who might that be? Check it out. Went out kicking and screaming, but had to go. Snapshot and read. Somebody important came for this particular person. Snapshot and read. Brother Bill, snapshot and read. No one can run, no one can hide. Snapshot and read. And this is the reason for the justice. Right here. Snapshot and read. In the central casting that we was talking about, snapshot and read. In the final supper, last but not least, snapshot and read.
Hello from the other side. I think it's back to normal, bro.
Wanna see Nirvana, don't wanna die. Wanna feel it, none of them come by. Fuck me after my shit. Oh, them boys wanna see.
You see a nigga with his glasses on the top of his head. That's a different type of nigga. Don't just listen. It's little shit in the video that y'all missing because y'all not ready to accept Kyle for the person that he's becoming. When did you ever see him do some shit like that?
In the Epstein files, there's a reference to a secret society called the Zodiac, which supposedly has 12 members. The only way you can change membership is if somebody dies. Supposedly it had Federal Reserve Chair Paul Volcker was a member, as well as Tom Brokaw, the former newsman. That is according to the old Epstein files.
The unsettling phenomenon of human faces showing up in baby ultrasounds is not pareidolia, and you can't convince me otherwise. Because it's one thing to put together a face out of random spots and dots and lines, but when the face has discernible features like lips, nose, eyelids, chin, the whole 9 yards, and it looks like someone out of a Renaissance painting, you cannot tell me that this is pareidolia. Or this. Now, obviously, the number one reason for this is pareidolia, but I refuse to accept that. So the big question here is, why are there human faces showing up in the womb with a baby? Now, some people have seen these faces and compared them to lost loved ones, while other people believe that they could be some sort of guardian angel, like a sense of protection over the unborn child. Now, although this is uncommon, it happens more than you think, so it really makes you question what is going on here. And why are these very detailed human faces showing up in ultrasounds with these children? Is it pareidolia, guardian angels, or what's your thoughts on this?
Oh no, I gotta take a shit. What the f*** in the inception, mother? But where the f*** am I? Now I lost the door. I don't even know where the
Taking a shit in a tesseract, it's different.
A super soldiers experiment, and right after the first super soldier experiment, it gave birth to these beings right here. Okay? These beings today, you call them angel, they were super soldiers, to be exact. After this experiment, they forbid anyone from proceeding this process. They don't want nobody to ever do it again because of the size. The size were the factor. They grew too far. They grew too big. That's the reason why they stopped it. They refused, and whoever did it, you will most likely get exile or death sentence. So some of our ancestors continue the process, which means they have their own agenda. They trying to use the same process to do it, and by doing so, they didn't have certain genetic materials to do so. So the fact they don't have certain genetic materials to replicate those angels, they use animal genetic materials. By using animal genetic materials, this is what was born. These beings were the ones that was born from that process. Today you call it demons, today you call it Satans. These were the beings that was born in the same process but with different genetic materials. Okay? And from there, this is what they were talking about. Yes, they defined the creator. There you go. This is what they mean. Shout out to you, Wiki. This is what they meant when they said they defied the creator. The creator pretty much means the people that have the code, that have the right genetic materials. They don't have it. They defy the right genetic materials. They end up using the animals. From there, this is what ended up being born. They create these abominations. That's why they got wings. They got wings just like those angels, but they don't look quite like the angels. The process, the mechanism is the same, but the genetic material is not vibrate as the same. And for that, these are the beings that was around. They are gigantic. This is who they call today Lucifer. Every time you hear about Lucifer or you hear about Satan, they are talking about these beings. They talk about those beings that was created outside of the what we call the original genetic materials. Okay?
The thing is, what people can see from these Epstein files, he knew everybody that was very powerful. So like if you were on the scene and you were powerful, like to be honest, like if you're not in those files, it would be an insult. Because it just means that you were a bit of a loser.
Right, so the people who aren't in the files are losers.
Yes.
Okay.
Lady Victoria Harvey, former girlfriend of Andrew Mountbatten Windsor's. That's an astonishing attitude, isn't it?
The Nicki Minaj tweet from a couple days ago.
Oh, Nicki Minaj. You don't know Nicki Minaj. Listen.
Let me read the tweet. She wrote, "Your favorite artist has been practicing rituals in a satanic cult where they take babies from other countries and what's this word? mutilate, mutilate and kill them as form of a blood sacrifice to their god. You see, when your master is Satan, you must constantly shed blood. However, the jig is up." And she put jig is up in capital letters.
Question, how does she know? How does she know and complete what happens? How would you know unless you was into it, right? There's no way to know unless you've been. Listen, let me tell you this. If somebody tell me what the inside of my house looked like, they had to be on the inside of my house. Not saying they did everything inside my house, but they had to at least be on the inside to tell you what it looked like. So a motherfucker got to be on the inside to tell you what it looked like. Listen, everybody know what Nicki Minaj looked like. You just saw it next to Trump, right? In order to go next to Trump, you got to do two things, right? You got to publicly denounce the devil, right? You got to publicly denounce it because you got to go under the illusion as God. But God, the devil, the same, right? We talk about Nicki Minaj, but Nicki Minaj, you ain't see her when she was with Trump, I swear to God, and I cannot lie to you. When I tell you this, she was shaking. Watch the video. She was shaking because she knew from that day forward, she would no longer be Nicki Minaj, right? She's the same person that said Jay-Z owed her money, right? No one never made allegations about Jay-Z owing nobody nothing as long as Jay-Z been around, right? We know Jay-Z don't play about no money. We all know that. But they mad because they make bad, poor business deals. They're not used to doing business deals and business arrangements, right? So I'm just gonna say this, right? What she say there is true. It happens. It's been happening. Right? Epstein. I just proved you how it's happening, but is it bad? Right? That's the question. The question is, what is right and what is wrong? Is the intentions determine what's right or wrong, or do the act determine what's right or wrong? That's the problem. The problem is not what's going on. The problem is we can't figure out the intentions, so the problem is we shouldn't judge. Because the moment you judge something to someone, you're already wrong.
This is pretty bizarre. I don't know who has seen this or not, but at the most recent UFC fight during the pre-show on the Vegas Sphere, they ran some pretty questionable wording and they did it at lightning speed, almost like subliminal messaging. So I'm going to play it at normal speed. I'm going to play just a clip of it and then we'll slow it down and really see what they have to say.
Investing with the UCPI in Mexico, he sees what they do, how they show up, how they support their fans. So it's amazing to me to see the growth of the sport. The Mexican fighters are here. The Mexican-born fighters are...
And slowed. They're pretty obvious, like right here. You know, the people that would say it's just words, it's not just words. Why would you put those things in there? Everything has meaning, and everything in this world right now is trying to just detour us off the path of God and get us away. Even this stuff, even the subliminal stuff. Right here. All intentional. Pretty sad world.
It's something most people don't notice. As I mentioned before, Kasana is making a transition. Here he is in Paris for Fashion Week since his promo of the new brand Vive. Now the outfit he wears doesn't look the same, but similar to an outfit upcoming artist David wore and sold on his website before his incident. Last year, David also had strong connections to Paris during Fashion Week. Now the patterns is what continues to show themselves. You see here David doing the one-eye symbolism, the all-seeing eye. Kai has been showing the same patterns even before all this started. If you remember, this is from his old profile picture on his Instagram. The vow of silence, the one-eye symbolism, and even what we see here. The horned hand, the mano cornudo. Even on his arm, you see the see no evil. Then you're going to turn a blind eye to the evil that's going on. It's similar to his recent Vive design. See no evil, hear no evil, speak no evil. Now if you still think that's not enough, he recently met up with one of the final bosses of fashion, Laura Roach. Laura Roach is a powerhouse in the Paris fashion industry, and now Kai has him as a stylist and coach. As you can see, even with this character, the patterns don't change. One-eye symbolism. One-eye symbolism. Okay, so this is my final connection. Laura Roach and Michelle Lamy are both iconic figures in the fashion industry who maintain a close professional and personal relationship. Michelle Lamy is frequently seen at events hosted by Laura Roach. July 2025, she was a notable guest at Roach's 47th birthday celebration at the hotel in Paris. Laura Roach even has been spotted at exclusive parties hosted by Rick Owens. And if you don't know about Michelle and Rick Owens, you should watch my other video on it, Birds of a Feather. So you might choose to ignore this. The characters might change, but these patterns always stay the same. And that right there is not by accident.
That's where he later died. Now, right now, it's a very hard time for the entire family. This shooting took place just before 10:30 here on Masterson Cove. Of course, we're going to continue to...
That's a Scooby-Doo sound.
Black eyes, like Blueface, and like that. He got beat up, but he didn't get beat up where you thought he got beat up. He got beat up somewhere else. Okay, and so the eyes come out, and they call them panda eyes, and they do this so you see people with these cigars, and they're all these big celebrities. They all have the cigar in common. That's that big ass thing between their legs that they're sticking in. And it's one big society of it. Now, when it comes down to the selling of there's shipping and trafficking and people, adults, the moms, the dads, right there on Target commercials, right there on Walmart commercials. And you're looking at the people that are missing, and they're smiling like they're happy, but they're going back to hell. And that's really what it is. These are actually adults. Jeffrey Epstein created this saga, and this is what he is great at doing. He's great at kidnapping someone, turning them into putting them in a dead celebrity's body, and screwing the life out of them after he makes a ton of money off of their ass on his private little beach. So you have a private little beach full of celebrities and bodies getting screwed, and nobody cares because they're supposed to be dead. And this has been a major market that he tried to blame on Oprah Winfrey. So, yeah, that's what I feel about that. And this panda eye thing is, the panda, all that stuff is so real. You want to go get my shaba till your eyes pop out, go ahead. I mean, that's up to you. But, I just think that, people just need to realize what they're looking at when they're watching the television. Everything is right in front of you. The revolution was televised, and don't nobody give it. Black.
What's that? Oh, Nancy Guthrie, the woman that was just kidnapped. Her husband is last name Feldman, who actually used to work for the Clintons. What? Tell me more! Yeah, after digging into this story, it gets extremely eerie. So Nancy's husband, Mr. Feldman, who worked for the Clintons for 8 years, was known as somebody called a scrubber. Yeah, he created a company called Grover Park where he actually had a group of people where they would go on the internet and they would scrub material for people that they didn't want to be on the internet. So essentially, he may have done the Clintons dirty recently. And we all know how the Clintons operate and how there's been just strange activity involving them over the years with certain people not being around anymore. I'm sure this story is going to keep developing and we'll hear more about this as we go. Okay then.
All right, hold up. You were Puffy's blood boy?
From 2004 to 2014.
Don't think I'm stupid, but what's a blood boy?
So when somebody parties too hard or isn't living right, they want a fresh blood in their system, right? I didn't drink, smoke weed, I didn't eat any pork, none of that. Diddy saw me and he was like, yo, I got a job for you. He was like, I want that blood. And I was like, whoa. And he drops 10 grand on the table.
10 large.
Yeah. He said, I want a pint of your blood right now.
So that was a one-off, or you
No, that was the beginning. I'm a universal donor. He thought I was special. He called me his lucky little blood boy. Every 3 months, he would fly me down to Miami. And this was the crazy part. He never actually wanted to do it on land. It wasn't legal at that time.
Yeah.
So we would get on a boat and he would take us to what he would call Oconus, outside of the continental United States.
Yeah.
And on his yacht, we would just drain blood, and he would just drain me, dude. Look at him from 2004 to 2014 and tell me if he aged.
Yeah, facts. And he's aging now that he's in prison. He's not all of a sudden Father Time
caught up with him, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
For 9 years, the majority of Puffy was made up with my blood. with my blood, with my blood, with my blood.
Can you two stand up real quick? Those guys might be the tallest guys I've ever seen in my life. And I've just been staring at them this whole time. How tall are you guys? You an NBA player? Are you actually? Oh, okay. Wow. Is this not crazy? I don't want to stand up because I'm going to look like short. I mean, what is this? This is ridiculous. I feel like a toddler. Hey, wait, so you said you're an NBA player?
How are you? Wow, you guys have big hands.
That's crazy. Anyways.
Nos invaden los gigantes.
All right, audience, moment of truth. Look at this. No, it doesn't. Stop it saying that. It smells delicious and it looks delicious, and I'm just waiting for the biscuits to go in, and then we're set.
We all know kids and drunks always tell the truth.
They found that 1/3 of the visitors to this planet were human creatures, placental human creatures like us. Different morphology, different appearances and so forth. Bigger ears, smaller ears, changing them out. Bigger eyes, less hair, no hair at all on the body. Second category being those gray types. They are non-placental creatures. You saw one on the autopsy table in the Santilli film. They don't have any gastrointestinal system. They don't have any sex organs. They are a different class of being altogether. And then the third class is the catch-all category. The tentacled species, the fuzzy blobs, hairy balls, and all that sort of thing. Those little beings are typically called grays. They came from a planet they call, from a planet that orbits one of twin suns that they call Reticulum. And when we look at the constellation Reticulum, which means net, the net, we see two suns, big bright suns, together. And they told Herman, who is not an astronomer at all, that the two suns are twin suns that run parallel in sidereal space. And in 20 years of research, several engineers that were assigned to work with the extraterrestrials to try to bridge the gap between their technology and ours. They never succeeded in closing the gap. We were never able to convert that technology to ours. And the reason given by the aliens themselves is because they, in order to operate their equipment, they have to impart a certain mental input. So their equipment responds to mind, to thought, and we have never learned to impart the proper thought to make any of it work.
Oh my God, Christine, you are one hot-looking man. Oh my God, are you freaking kidding me right now? That's awesome. What? Get that! Are you kidding me right now? Get that off. That's disgusting.
We all know someone who looks like the second man.
This whole COVID madness, this so-called pandemic, it was just a test balloon. A gigantic test balloon. Well, for what, you ask? Well, to see how far they could go. To see what exactly they would have to do to get free individuals in a free and democratic society to consent to being forced into compliance. That's what they were trying to establish. That's what they were trying to figure out. And they have figured it out. Trust me, they are much smarter now. The goal ultimately is to transform our free and democratic societies, into totalitarian societies. Their goal is to strip each and every one of us of our fundamental rights of freedom, democracy, the rule of law. They want to get rid of all of this. This whole COVID thing had never anything to do with public health. It never had anything to do with breaking waves. It always had to do with breaking people in order to make us a part of a mindless, malleable mass, which they can totally control, and we will be completely dependent upon this globalitarian elite. So I'm really imploring the people and all the peoples around the world. For God's sake, stop giving your democratically elected governments the benefit of the doubt. They are not deserving of that. They are not. Stop rationalizing whatever your government is doing. Stop rationalizing and come up with some good intentions. They have no good intentions. Never. As I said before, in the entire history of mankind, there has never been a political elite concerned about the well-being of regular people. And it isn't any different now. Why should it? Stop giving them the benefit of the doubt. Because I can tell you, you cannot comply your way out of a tyranny. It is impossible. Trying to do so, you will only feed a gigantic alligator in the hopes of being eaten last. But guess what? Your turn will come, and then you will be the one swallowed up. I also have to ask the people, end your silence. Speak up. For God's sake, stop complying. Start rebelling. They're out to get you if you do not resist.
And that's a wrap on this episode, fool. I hope you enjoyed it. If so, don't forget to hit and smash the like button for me, smash that subscribe button, be part of the family. Remember, stay woke, and I'll catch you next time.